Hey everyone, welcome to Spirit Tries this game called The Trolley Problem. Uh, Blood on, huh? Before we begin, click the like button, subscribe to see more in the future. Now, this was recommended to me by a friend at work. Now, this friend at work is the polar opposite from my political, well, maybe not polar opposite for religious views, but hello, cat. But roughly, what gets me is like, we're still willing to dialogue, which is not cultural at the moment. They said, you know what? I've seen this game streamed on Twitch. I think you might like it. You think a lot. Because we dialogue about this stuff, and the idea is we're not trying to, religious and all that stuff. We're not trying to attack each other. We're asking each other's questions, trying to chisel away at the armor to make each other, like, maybe disbelieve or maybe have more credit to the other side. It doesn't matter. We're trying to understand each other. Anyway, I'm going to try this game. This is just the demo. It's the only thing I could find on Steam. If you go to look for it, it's still in early access. One person who will be crushed to death by the trolley if you do pull the lever. 5 people who will be crushed to death if the trolley. If you don't pull the lever, just random. I can really slow that speed down, can't I? I'm pulling the lever. That's rough. Okay. Then always justifying the means. Managed the right decision, sparing 5 lives in exchange for 1. Jeremy Bentham. Looks like Benjamin Franklin, sort of. The cat's just purring away. Alright, well, that was terrible. Okay. Kant says, it's murder to pull the lever. You have no obligation to intervene. The blood of this person is on your hands. Now, sort of. I know a little bit about Kant, but Kant would also argue that a person's individual accountability is very important. When you're put in positions of leadership, you get to make those decisions, and they're terrible. They really are. You get to basically make the worst of the worst decisions. Choose which way you're going to suffer. Thanks, Kant. Appreciate it. 5 people who will be crushed to death by the trolley if you do pull the lever. 1 person will be crushed to death by the trolley if you don't pull the lever. Oh, it's the same thing. They're like, the reason she recommended this game to me is she said, I get it. What's this skip stuff? Maybe there's different questions? That's the only thing I can think of. I wonder, oh my gosh. He got freaking pelted, dude. I know what Kant says, okay. Alright. Hitler before he took power, Stalin before he took power. Yo, we kill Stalin. What is this? Crap. Stalin before he took power. I don't know which one what pulling the lever does. Pulling the lever makes it go up. Mr. Calculator says cannot compute. Do we go back? No. We do know who was worse, believe it or not. The reason why we know it is worse is because we have the tally of what would happen. I know there's no way to know, but we know the end result, and you actually kind of get the feel for if the right goes too far, because that's Hitler, because that's also Nietzschean Superman, because that's what you're aiming for, the carved out Superman. And Stalin, you're destroying what is successful for the image. It's a long history of the Soviet Union to show how they took political power and espionage from within, said that the people that were successful at farming, well, it turns out they stole from you even though they didn't. And after they killed all the farmers, again, this is a cheap version of what happened. After they killed all the farmers, they said, oh yeah, we got plenty of food. We'll feed you. No, they didn't. And then you take however many people were killed in the Holocaust, add an extra 0 to that number, and that's what you get in Stalin. So I didn't know what I was doing there. So pull the lever and it goes up. Oh, it does say do pull the lever. 5 people, 2 of which are organ donors. 9 lives will be saved if these 5 people are killed by the trolley, which will happen if you don't pull the lever. So we pull the lever. What is this? Ah! Ah! Hey! Hey! Jeremy Bentham didn't like that. That's what that does. Everybody dies. Okay. 2015, a mother in the UK took her child to full term knowing it would die shortly after birth in order its organs to save others' lives. She's a utilitarian hero. Yo, my wife's mom, her first kid was literally just like that, but she bore it anyway. That's not only a utilitarian hero, that's a spiritual hero as far as I'm concerned. Life is worth living, because you never know. I've heard a lot of cases where they have had the child saying it have Down syndrome and be perfectly fine. And then there's the opposite effect too, so let's lower this. Okay. Whatever, professor. One person who's an organ donor, enough organs will remain intact to save 3 lives if they are killed by the trolley. We pull the lever, it goes up, right? Or no one. I love this music, man. It's so chill. I'm afraid to... Can we do this? Pulling the lever always goes up. Okay. By killing 1 but saving 3, you would have a net increase of 2 lives. That's what that meant. Instead, you led it to the deaths of those people. No. Save 3 lives if they are killed by the trolley. It didn't say when. Like right now. So that was a bit of misconfusion. I didn't read the question clear enough. Maybe I just didn't see that. Don't kill them, but when they die, they can then have other people be alive. That makes sense. One of the easiest things you can do is improve the life of others to volunteer as an organ donor. Your organs will serve no utilitarian purpose to you after your death and will either be removed or burnt if you're cremated or embalmed. There's the sacredness of the human body and being, and that's like Jehovah's Witness philosophy as far as I can tell. Where the body is sacred. And this is also a very Middle Agean belief too, when they would dig up the bones and re-burn somebody they didn't like, just to even do them in even more. Okay, what do we got here? 5 American lumberjacks, or 5 American... Why do they gotta be American? Slow down, buddy. The lumberjacks die or the firefighters die? Well, lumberjacks will create the fire, so we should kill them, right? We don't want to do either, obviously. 5 American lumberjacks. 5 American firefighters. I'm gonna do the firefighters. Even though the lumberjack probably has the most, death rate compared to everybody else, the lumberjacks provide the opportunity to have houses. Firefighters are risking it, although I guess I didn't really volunteer to get hit by a trolley, but there you go, Kant. You never really know. We'll see where this sweet... Oh, we just did this. Dude, I'm gonna turn up the high blood next time. Mr. Calculator says, good choice. Fires don't happen as often as they used to, and firefighters no longer save as many lives as they used to. Lumberjacks provide a critical service, creating lumber which is needed to keep a roof over our heads. Without adequate shelter, we would all die from exposure. Lumberjacks provide more for others than firefighters, thus giving the profession a higher utilitarian value than firefighters. Again, this is... You have to take the religious out of this, because if you say all life is sacred, well, we wouldn't kill either, would we? We'd save them all, or do our best. There's so many anime and stuff, not just specifically anime, but also books, that are kind of based on that philosophy. Do what you can to save life. Even if it means, you don't know what I mean. I'm going to keep justifying me pulling a lever or not pulling a lever. Professor says the amount of American firefighters who die on the job annually is roughly 6 per 100,000, as opposed to 92 per 100,000 for American logging workers. Wow, I thought it was the opposite. The high fatality rate makes logging work the second most dangerous job in the United States. Roofers have the third most dangerous job in the United States, losing 47 workers per 100,000 to workplace accidents. They too provide a critical service of keeping a roof on. It's okay. What is this? What? We're gonna do the firefighters again. I hate it. Although we already have, we didn't build the roofs yet. We have the structures. So this is structures without roofs. Basically, if we have the firefighter, or if we kill off all the firemen, I can't pause this. Slow down. If we kill off all the firemen, everything burns forever. And also notice there's a coffee shop right there. Huh. Fire's okay. I'm not a utilitarian. I believe in the sacredness of life, but yeah, we just said that. Oh, good. One healthy person who will be crushed to death by the trolley if you do pull the lever. 5 cancer patients, each with a 10% chance of survival, will be crushed to death by the trolley if you don't pull the lever. So that's like, I know it's not 50% one person lives. This goes into a dark place, dude. Darker, I guess. Oh, luckily my cat's on my lap, so there's a little piece of joy here. Which one will we do? If you do pull the lever, kill her. But how old is this healthy person? I need more details, or does it really matter? It's a 1 to 5 ratio. Mr. Spock would choose the 1. And Hitler for Uberman. I really wish I would have made the different choice back there, because Stalin should have been offed. Hitler would choose these bottom 5, because they are imperfect. They are not the Superman. That's the right going too far. Too much of a structure based. So I think I'm gonna pull the lever. I'm gonna pull it. Yep. This is everybody. Okay, when am I gonna do that again? Oh no, doing the math, you end up with 60% of at least one surviving, half a person surviving on average. So again, I know. It is not worth the gamble. But the chance of life, what is that worth? And so Mr. Calculator is obviously utilitarian. A person who's generally happy almost all the time. 3 people who are with an incurable form of chronic depression. I doubt. So, chronic depression that's incurable. You can still be depressed and have joy. What is happiness? I love this, dude. At least I'm jumping into the philosophy of who gets to live and die. That's God's choice. That's the story you're living in. You don't get to choose. At least you shouldn't choose that. But happiness is just temporal. Almost all of the time. Well, who are we doing this for? Are we doing it for life itself, or are we doing it for the singularity of the self, of the ego? Life itself seems to be more precious than happiness. I mean, that's kind of hinting at the abortion argument, right? Can you have happiness without life? Well, no. You need life first. That's the foundation. So I guess we pull the lever. Boop. So we choose life. They can still have joy. Gosh, those animations are great. Jeremy Bentham said, who is this Jeremy Bentham dude? I gotta look it up. Give me a second. Who is Jeremy Bentham? He's a utilitarian philosopher. Why do I not know this guy? You know what? I do know this guy. I just haven't read his work in a while. English philosopher, economist. 1832 is when he died. 1748 is when he began. So he had a great influence, obviously, because he was when America was initiating its foundation. At the age of 4, the son of an attorney, said to have read eagerly and to have begun the study of Latin at age 4. That's also something that's really... I'm going to stop researching this guy. Something really cool about the past is to get into college, if you didn't know this, you would have to know like 3 languages fluently, have competent knowledge of English literature. Now you have to go into debt for the next 40 years of your life and know 0 things. Like, it's just such a difference in education. Professor says, since under utilitarianism, unhappiness is a fate worse than death, this puts a high value on any treatment or quality of life improvements that can alleviate depression. It should not be viewed as though depressed people are not worthy of. That's right. The utilitarian aspect of it, you got to be careful of that, because you can rationalize the whole gender of people these days to death. By now, you should have a good understanding of what the utilitarian character is determined to be a good utilitarian decision. Would you like to play the rest of the game in utilitarian mode? You will receive a score on whether or not your decision is utilitarian. Free play mode, score isn't recorded. There will be no negative consequences for disagreeing with any of the characters. Well, I don't know. I want to make that Stalin decision again. Because I didn't know what the controls did. Pull a lever and it goes up. Why is it based on utilitarian? That's not my aim. So should I go free play? Because utilitarian is all about, well, you can actually argue your way to profit. Utilitarian, because you want happy, flourishing life. Because people are more productive when they're happy. But then, we're not even. I mean, you can add animals in there too. We're talking about consciousness itself, awareness and consciousness, specifically in the human format. But utilitarian gives me a score. Let's do free play. Well, maybe we'll do the other one later. 5 85-year-old men, 1 16-year-old girl. So, I'm going to choose the girl. Because there's something about, specifically in a biblical reference, like before children can make the decision to right or wrong, he takes them to his hands. Like their spirit goes up to God. And that kind of makes sense, because the innocence of children cannot be violated per their character, per their nature. And you can, I have 2 kids, I can see this. There's a certain way they act that they do not violate their character to like an infinitesimal degree. So they're innocent when they go. But the 85-year-old men still have time to repent and change their ways. There's still a future for them. So again, this is a utilitarian decision. I should have chose utilitarian. Sort of utilitarian, but not really. Because that's 5 times the potential of 1. 5 different lives. If we're all made in the image of God, I mean, that's going to come up quite a lot. I can actually skip one. Everyone here dies at the average age of less than 102. Their quality of life is the same. The grief caused by their family is negligible, and it is better to pull the lever. The girl will probably not get much more happiness. Again, happiness. That's temporal. It's fleeting. You can have a joyful life without happiness. Happiness is like a gift of God. Jeez. Utilitarianism that's a tough poison, I think, that's being spread to people, as if your happiness means that's what's going to make the world go round. Not really. Go live in Africa for 5 seconds. Go see what their drug addicts look like. Go watch people butcher each other with machetes. You'll find out how cruel men can be. Happiness. The girl will probably remaining 70 years later. The 5 men will get from there. How do you know? You can never know. Probably. All right. Probably. 3 in-prison murderers and 2 innocent people. The murderers each have a 30% chance of paroling, murdering 1 more person each. The murderer enjoys their quality of life in prison. Or a mailman. Why do there have to be 2 innocent people there? I'm killing 1 innocent or 2 innocent. If it was just the murderers, obviously I'd take them. That's, again, utilitarian, but there's certain laws that are put around a society, regardless of where you're going, that once you violate those, it's like you don't have the right to be in the society. Again, I just read the history of the Quakers, and they were given, now, we talk about the Quaker belief, but they were banished upon point of death. Like, just go out of the town. Don't come back. If you come back, you're going to die. And this is when the country in America was first being founded. So they're infantile laws, civil laws meant to keep order and prevent absolute chaos running amok the country. And they ended up killing them because they violated the laws without, like, blatantly. Very weird. Why a mailman? Why not a zookeeper? Why do they have to 30% parole and kill 1 more person? I want to do the mailman, because there's 2 innocents up top, and I don't believe the murderer. The murderers might have that chance of 30 of murdering, of paroling, but do they have to murder another person? Is that included in it? I don't know. Squishy nose, dude. Death of a mailman would be preferable. It's unlikely each of the 3 in-prison murders would kill an extra person. That would equate to the 2 people killed by the lever. You're right. Any sense of justice via execution for these murders is irrelevant. They are imprisoned and separate from the population. The risk of killing an additional person is less than 1 on average. A true utilitarian would think the happiness of the imprisoned murderer still has importance. Okay. A guy who plays his guitar at parties. Guy who doesn't thank the bus driver. This is way too little to go up on a lay for death situation. I gotta thank this girl for showing me this game. Like how do you stop? I'm gonna go for a half hour. Guy who plays guitar at parties. Obviously, yes, but does he play poorly? Does he have good music? How old is he? Guy doesn't think the bus driver. Maybe he's having a bad day, dude. This is too little to go off of. So I'm just gonna let it run. I'm not hitting that button. Now that I know what it does. In the complete version of the game, will tell you what percent chose to pull a lever and what didn't. Okay. Neither of the beavers warrants death, with only knowledge at least one of them is going to die, and choose to survive based on these attributes alone. Yeah. You are driving the trolley. You're... No, what? I'm not killing one. This is terrible. I'm not hitting that button. How do I just jump out? My mom would even say herself. My wife would say herself. Only for the sake of family would I choose my mom. Yep. Some duties are higher than others. Yeah, these are choices like, how would you make these decisions? I would jump out of the trolley, screaming on the top of it, because the trolley speed's like 0.2 miles an hour, and save both of them. Your mother, I would save both. We can do it too. Grave robber who has been robbed over 100 graves, unbeknownst to the loved ones of the corpses he's robbed, continue to rob 100 more before he dies. Man who spends his weekends going to bars looking for fights to get into. Grave robber. Why the grave robber? Fights are actually good for adventure. And fights, from a male perspective, a fight club, right? How much do you know about yourself, unless you've been in a fight? They're like, they're opportune moments. Grave robber who's been doing this, well, why is he robbing 100 graves? He just robs them, right? That's it. And that's it. Like, that's it. Like, no one's really gonna know that. And this person, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, dude. It's 100 different nights you're going in there. Maybe he has like 2-for-1 deals. I don't know. But this guy here, that, like, he should live. He's got literally fight in him, while the grave robber's given up and is literally robbing the dead. So, I think we do that. Grave robbing is a victimless crime. What? I thought we were choosing. Okay. But actually, I would say it would benefit men specifically to get into more fights these days, to find out what they're made of and find out what's important. When truth and reality touch me. Narrative and reality touch, and you see what you can actually stand. There's something to that. Grave robber life. Where's he going with himself? Like, geez, no, that's not correct, Mr. Benjamin. Kill me from the past. Kill me from the... I don't get it. You kill your past, you can't even make the decision, obviously. And if I kill future... Well, that's the only decision there is. I kill myself in the future. Well, do I? Do I? I have exciting things coming up. And I'm from the future. Not right now. My girls grow up. You know what I mean? But they wouldn't even... So it has to be in the future. So... Yep. Yeah, okay. 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 5 performed murderers never received a punishment for their crime will never murder again and spend their days working for charities. An average college student. The average college student is an average college student is an affluent person who's been indoctrinated by Marxist theology, basically, in the school system. The murderers, however, never receive a punishment for their crime, will never murder again, spend their days working for charities. That's something that weighs on your conscience. Not only does it weigh on your conscience, it's going to motivate you to do something good and well while they're working for charities for the rest of your life. Something meaningful. A college student, good luck paying your student debt back, right? And then finding a job that actually contributes to society. And it doesn't say how old these murderers are, but I think it's just it's a 5-to-1 ratio. Evil and unhappiness caused by the murders is over and done with, and only serve to create happiness. It's too temporary to be a measurement of what makes a good society. Makes me happy to drink alcohol and punch people. How's that work? It doesn't really, as you were wondering. Killing them now would not save the lives of the people they killed. Well, that does logically correct. 5 puppies, all with loving families and home. Yo, it has to be the dogs. They're still pure. Animals are just this. They can't violate their nature. But conscious, as far as I can tell, and this is my perspective, conscious beings, they have to continue to live and serve. 80-year-old people are not useless. They're still people, and they still can be very competent. And there's some, like, I like the way C.S. Lewis put this. He put it, I forget what book it is. But he was talking about animals and, like, post-death animals. Do we see them in heaven from a Christian perspective? And the way he answered that was, like, it's rather than having individual cats, you'll have, like, the spirit of a cat. That is, like, beholden to all cats. Because all cats act a certain way. All lions act a certain way. All dogs act a certain way. There's an attitude around them that is dog-like. And that's the attitude that cannot violate. And it's, you know, it's kind of a plug-and-chug computational thing, per se. And it's unconditional love, because you could beat a dog that's part of your family, it will still love you. Meanwhile, 80-year-old man, that's still a person that has to have relational love. So I'm gonna... If the utilitarian gonna tell me that a puppy's life is 5 puppies' lives are the same as a human? Even if his consciousness and ability to enjoy happiness is magnitudes larger than the dog's, unlikely it's enough remaining. Unlikely, huh? How's our president, by the way? They provide joy, but the family will get over it. Someone's losing their grandfather. Why didn't you make that pitch? What? I got it. 5 kittens versus 5 puppies. Who would continue to drive this? Who would not rip up the tracks before this decision? Everyone in the coffee shop should be jumping out. The barber shop too. Just throw yourselves in front of the cats. Sorry, man. I'm a cat guy. Oh, the puppies. Humans and dogs have co-evolved to associate each other with happiness and companionship. It's a natural tendency between both puppies and their owners. While this exists in cats, it's to a lesser extent. Says who? The amount of happiness a dog can experience in the presence of a human is developed to a greater extent than cats, based on what? And it's therefore the right decision to save the puppies. Mr. Calculator, I'm questioning your logic here. You need to expound a little bit. My dad made the decision for me. I had I'm gonna end on this one. This gets deep, dude. This gets deep in me, and it gets deep in philosophy in general. Now, every situation is different. Hit this. My father never wanted to talk about serious things. Seriously, I kept trying to talk about serious things. He was into, like, Paul Simon Garfunkel and some of the greatest musicians of the time, but he never chose to at least engage with me in serious topics about the transcendent perspective, even if it's just like Jungian philosophy or materialism or scientism or anything. Like he just changed the subject or wouldn't talk about it. Went to church with me once and fell asleep. It was a very interesting guy. He also, well, I think that's about all I'll unload on you there. But I mean, it's going to be my dad because my mother gave me this, I guess, the spiritual grounding to even want to be the person I am today. My dad was kind of there if I wanted to go see him. It was more of an honor shame culture versus what is a Western culture? Autonomous, affluent. No, I'm just kidding. But it was like on me to go see him. And that's tough when you're younger. You need the parents because they can jump down into your world. It's very difficult for you as like a young teenager or whatever adolescent to rise up to understand what they're doing. Like it's near impossible, but they can understand what you're doing. My mother dove into my life like that. Did a lot of things for me, so. Sorry, Dad. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Calculator says that's a tough one. Some of these problems presume a certain background about the player. Sorry if it doesn't apply to you. Same logic. The next generation itself should be preserved. We live for them. And I know I said the last one's the last one, but maybe this is the last one. There's something about when you have a kid, suddenly you're not the most important person in the world because they would literally die if you don't work for them. You are a servant, but a purposeful and willful servant. And every person that's part of a family chain should understand this. If they don't, then they're not trying to, at least in my opinion, they're not trying to propagate life. You should be willing to lay down your life for your child. It's easy to say till they need like a kidney or heart transplant. Like think about that for a minute. But it's gonna be, sorry, next generation's gotta win. I almost thought the trolley was gonna go straight anyway. Parents should never have to bury their child. Absolutely, Kant. I agree with that one. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna take the survey. Can I take the survey? I think that'll do it for this one. Let me know what you thought about this game. And thanks for watching. Please click the like button. If you want me to play more, let me know. Subscribe to see more in the future. There's my boy Niji. See you next time. Take care.